My name is Yasmin Aziz. I'm a pharmacist and I got married in 2017 in October. So there was no fancy proposal. I'm still waiting for the proposal. Babe, if you're watching this, I want a romantic proposal. But from when we were dating, from the day we met, from the very beginning, he told me he wanted to marry me. So our relationship has always been heading there. So there wasn't a fancy proposal, but we always knew where we were heading. So we planned our wedding in about 4 weeks. Yes, maximum 5 weeks, and we were ready to go. So when I was choosing my vendors, I already had in mind some people that I knew that when I was ready to marry, I would use them. For my makeup artist, I always knew who I wanted to have. And she had done makeup for a couple of my friends, and it looked so good. And so I already knew who I had in mind. I also had a lot of family and friends that were ready to support me. They were just waiting for me to say, Yasmin, get married. So when the time was right, when it came to food, I already had an auntie who had been waiting. Photography, I had my cousin who had been waiting. Even for my outfits as well, my seamstress had been waiting to just do this for me. So a lot of my vendors were people that I already knew, I had already worked with. And for those that I hadn't, it was strong referrals. I think that I was lucky and the timing was right, because for everyone that I wanted to use was available on that day, on that time, to be there for the event. So it was quite easy getting the people I wanted as vendors for my wedding. So I had my wedding at home, both the traditional and the white wedding. This was because my background and my husband's background was quite different. The culture was different, the religions are different as well. So we had to choose something that would accommodate both sides of the family. And so we thought that doing it at home would be the best place to have both events, so that we can please both families amicably. Putting together my guest list was not easy. My family is very large. My father's side is a huge family. My dad has over 70 siblings. And on the other side, my husband's family is very small. It's a very nuclear family. It's literally just himself and his siblings. So it was quite hard to balance it out. So we just decided that we're going to have a big traditional wedding. So our engagement or our traditional wedding had about 300, maybe 350 guests. But for our white wedding, we decided to keep it strictly family. So our white wedding was 20 people. And yes, we had exactly 20 people at our white wedding. So the real challenge with having a small wedding was family. Because as I said, my family is a very large family. So having to decide on who will be there out of my husband's 70-something siblings, who would be there and who would not be there, was the main challenge. So the real thing was getting my dad to align with what we wanted. And I think I was just lucky, because my dad is such a family person. But we spoke to him once, we spoke to him twice, and the third time he was like, okay, if that's what you want. And for some weird reason, everybody had traveled at that time. Everybody seems to have traveled at that time. The people that come, a lot of people were not in town. So it was so easy for us to do this. And so we just kept it to our immediate families. I didn't have any of my friends at my wedding, but it wasn't too tough. I explained to all of them that, we had a big engagement, so they all understood that I wanted to have a small wedding, and I told them I'll share videos afterwards. Of course, there's always that one friend that shows up. So I had one of my friends, I know she'll be watching this. She showed up anyways, and I was so happy that she did, because she ended up being my maid of honor on that day, because I didn't have. And she actually came dressed up like a maid of honor. She came ready for the part. So she came, and we had a really fun time. It was very small. We had a court wedding in the hall. So it was just a lawyer. My family is Muslim. My husband's family is Christian, and so we didn't want to have a church wedding or an Islamic wedding. Just wanted something that would be amicable for both sides. So we decided to have a court wedding or a signing with a lawyer. So it was just at home in the hall, 15 minutes, and then we ate. There was no music. We took pictures, and then that was it. Everybody went home, and then my husband and I went and had a whole photo shoot for like 2 hours. And so yeah, it was beautiful. It was my dream wedding. My husband's involvement in my wedding was, I scored him 0/10. I think he didn't really know what to do, and we got married relatively young, and so at that time most of our friends were not married, and for him as well, most of my friends were not married, and most of his friends were not married as well. So even for me, it was quite hard because I didn't have any friends to help me through the process. And for him, being a guy, it was even worse. So he didn't really know what to do. And I'd call him and say, babe, we need to do this, and this. And he would say, how much? Like, he didn't want to know. He just wanted to know how much, come for the money and do it. He wasn't interested in the details and which vendor and no. He was not interested in it. Not like he was not interested, but he didn't know what to do. So he just decided that he would just be giving me money, but it's not the money that I needed. I needed him to be involved in the process, but eventually I think that at the end of the day, we pulled it off, so it wasn't too bad after all. So the funniest experience at the wedding was, so this Ochami, after we finished doing the whole show, Chinchina, my husband should carry me. Look at my abasa. This man. This Ochami said that my husband should carry me. My husband could not carry me. Still insisting. It was so funny. It was awkward. Anytime we watch our wedding video, so we watch our wedding video every year on our anniversary, we always laugh about that side. But eventually he wasn't able to carry me for like 2 seconds. So I guess, yeah, it was so funny. Everybody was laughing. But we made it at the very end, so all is well that ends well. So my scariest experience at the wedding was, so I was doing hair and makeup. All I heard was, bang! Hey! I just went to the balcony and the canopy had fallen. And at that time, the time I got married, these church canopies had just come in vogue. And my dad was like, he doesn't like these canopies. He wants the traditional canopies. That was the first time he's like, what is this? So he had been complaining all morning. And as if the devil knew, the devil made the canopy forward. Gratefully, we were just about to start, so there were not so many people, so no one got hurt. We were quickly able to get the guys come and refix it, but it was so scary. And my dad, at that point, my dad was like, move this canopy, go to the junction and go and bring them of the old canopy. So it was scary. It was scary because we were all scared that someone would get hurt, but gratefully no one got hurt, and we were able to continue as planned. So the most annoying experience at my wedding was, so I booked all the vendors. As I said, my husband was not very apt to it, and I gave him one thing. He had one job, to book a DJ. It was that bad. Like, it was that bad. It was annoying. At a point, my friends had to go to the DJ and tell me to play the song. It was terrible. And I mean, he was a D. So I was a bit upset with my husband. Like, you had just one vendor to book, and this is what she came up with. He said, "Oh, he's my friend. And he's a DJ." So I later found out that he's a radio DJ, not a wedding DJ. So we got what we got. So that it was bad. It was annoying, and I'm a music person. I like to dance, so I was not amused. I was not excited about my DJing. So yeah, that was annoying, very annoying. If I had the chance to do my wedding again, I don't think I would change anything except the DJ. But aside that, I don't think I'll change anything. I loved how my engagement went, and I loved my white wedding. It was so intimate, it was perfect. So yes, I don't think I'll change anything about it except the DJing. Yes, yeah. I think that my most valuable lesson I learned during my wedding planning process was not to think too much about what others would think on that day. A lot of times when you're preparing for your wedding, you try so hard to accommodate other people that you forget that it's your wedding. You try so hard that, oh, what would my mother-in-law, my parents, my siblings, I have to try and accommodate my auntie, my friends. And we forget that it's your day most importantly. And I think that is one of the most valuable things I took from the process, especially when I was planning my white wedding and I was planning a small event. It made me realize how awesome it can be to prioritize yourself and how you feel about certain things sometimes. And I think that's the number one for me. Okay, so marital advice. I think the biggest advice I would give is to marry the right person. That's the best gift you can give yourself, you can give your children. Marriage is a beautiful thing if it's done with the right person. And if you have somebody who understands you, who honors you, who loves you, that is the best thing that you can have for the rest of your life. You owe that to yourself and you owe that to your children and to your entire generation. So I think that my marital advice would not be what you do after you get married, but before. That is the process of choosing who you will get married with. If it takes 5 years, let it take 5 years. Wait as long as you can, or you need to choose the right person and to be with the right person. Because afterwards, it gets a bit tough to change habits. However, if you do get married to the wrong person, there are a few things you can do that would help. Communication. Learn to respect each other. Especially for now, when men and women are thriving to be the same in our workplace, in our homes, sometimes we lose the respect. And once it's lost, it's difficult to rebuild. So communication, mutual respect, and most importantly, let love lead. Once there's love, everything else would fall in place. If I had known that marriage would be like so enjoyable, I would have married 10 years ago. I would have married a long time ago. It's the best thing that happened to me. Being married, my life is so much more enjoyable than when I was not married. If I knew this, how the enjoyments would be, I would have married in school crowd. What is school?